Hey everybody, welcome back for our final installment of Bagel Bites. It's been a six-part, six-pointed star series of the 6 bagel makers in the city that we feel are trying to answer that question, where can I get a great bagel, but also proving that the Pacific Northwest has become home to an amazing panoply of delicious bagel flavors. And today we're really excited to have the proprietor, founder of Roan Hartzog from Mt. Bagel, one of the newest on the scene. So before we get to telling you a little bit about Roan's bagels, I just wanted to make sure that you know that you can watch all of our Bagel Bites on our YouTube page. You can go to the Strom JCC or go to our Facebook at Seattle JFF. And as always, I'm really excited to have my thought partner and creative partner for Bagel Bites and many other things. Warren Etheredge is going to be joining me today from the Warren Report. And also Warren is about to launch, although the Walla Walla Movie Crush short film festival. And so you might all want to check that out as well. And that happens in July. Wanting to just say, hope everybody's safe and healthy. And obviously bagels are a great way to support local businesses. So without further ado, I just want to say that I'm really excited to have Roan with us today. I just learned about Mt. Bagel, and it is a great new establishment. Roan got started, I think your business license is only about a year old. Yep. But 6 months ago actually opened up, and through Instagram has had just amazing success in getting his bagels out to the community. And we have lots to talk about because you are self-described, former, garage band musician. You're not Jewish, which I think makes really fascinating conversation about how people respond to the bagel conversation. Sure. But to start off, there's something in the Jewish world that I think it's in the Torah, and we actually say, blessed are the converts. And it's because people who decide to make the choice to kind of do something Jewishly, we welcome you with open arms. And I think your bagels, after this, I truly hope that everybody will be welcoming because they are truly, truly terrific. Thank you. And I'm really excited to have you. So welcome, Roan, and welcome, Warren.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Good to be back.
Yes, so, good to be back.
So, I am familiar with the Torah, but I don't welcome everybody. I just welcome the people who make good bagels, and you have made a great bagel. But you've also, it's sort of seemingly a stealth operation. Pamela mentioned that she just learned about it. I just learned about it. Is this all part of your marketing plan, or are you just shy?
It's all just kind of naturally evolved from a very low-key hobby, and I think that the way that the marketing has turned out, the way it's gone has just been unexpected as far as volume goes, and so I've been trying to like hire friends to come help and stuff like that, and keep up with the demand. But it's just also, I think, because everybody's at home ordering food to their homes, demand has been even higher. So it's kind of turned into this race to try to catch up a little bit to the demand. So yeah, I mean, I don't go out of my way to advertise at this point, just because every Monday when we post dates, there's still lots of people that don't get bagels. So yeah, it hasn't really been super high on our priority list yet, but one day for sure when we're able to facilitate.
To that end, though, like they're I'll say it now, they're really tremendous bagels. They're great, and you have to order them online, or you have to do it through Instagram. You do sometimes sell out, leading me to the question: how many are you making? Are you making? Are you making 20 a week? Are you making 700 a day? What's happening there?
We make about 1,400 a week.
Wow.
So 350 a day, Tuesday through Friday.
Wow.
And yeah, we do deliveries on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Thursdays pickups at Harry's Fine Foods.
Can I ask a question, Warren? Because I'm very curious. Your logo, it's evocative of the mountains. Obviously, the image that you gave me of your headshot is taken at Yosemite, even the mountain of bagels that you provided me with for sharing. There's clearly something Pacific Northwest inspired about what you're doing. And you're from Florida.
Yep.
Is there something about your bagel that you're inspired by the mountains, by Pacific Northwest? Why mountain?
I think initially it just kind of had a ring to it when I was trying to come up with the name for the project, when it got a little momentum. But the process of learning to make the bagel itself was definitely like a huge challenge, as I'm sure all the other bagel makers you've interviewed have said. I mean, it's labor intensive, and I think, for the better part of a year, I just made batch after batch after batch, just trying to get it right. And I think kind of in hindsight now, the name seems appropriate. I just feel like once I got to that recipe where I felt like I had something, it just felt kind of like sticking a flag at the top of the mountain, Mount Bagel. It kind of all just came together in that regard. And so, yeah, I think it sort of works on a couple different levels. I have customers that do the mad rush for bagels on Monday, that if they get an order confirmation, like, I summited Mount Bagel. It's kind of just another one of those parallels, I guess.
Seems like a great Instagram campaign. I think you need to get that going.
That's right.
So I think there's something fascinating here. You are only the second bagel maker in Seattle who actually is a baker to begin with. And you did work for Tom Douglas for a period there. Why the love of baking?
I've just always have gravitated toward it. I dropped out of college to become a baker 15 years ago or so, and it just seemed like an honest job, kind of simple in one regard, but sort of deceptively simple. There's a lot of complexity underneath the surface there, and obviously it's a very good job for the senses. You get to smell fresh bread every day, eat bread, get your hands in the dough. It's definitely a satisfying job. So there's something about
Warren,
it.
If I can add to that, just similar to, maybe, sorry, I'm going to invoke one of our other interviews, but Andrew Rubenstein of Rubenstein Bagels. Andrew's also was an artist as well, and you were also an artist beforehand. So I'm going to just show your band days, but you played for a band, Cabana. I'll play a little bit of music from it. And I think it's interesting, the transition from the artist to the artisan bagel maker. And I think if there's something in that, I'd love to know what you think about that transition. So I'm going to just share with folks one of the images. So this is from, where is this photo from?
This is at Numos.
Yep. And tell us a little bit about the band.
Well, it was, let's see, we kind of got together to play music, I want to say in 2010, 10. Just friends of mine. This is Nick here in the background. I met him, he used to work at Hattie's Hat in Ballard. And I think everybody in the band actually but me at some point worked at Hattie's Hat. And yeah, we had a practice space in Ballard, and we just went every night almost, 4 or 5 nights a week, and played music and wrote songs together. And it was just kind of a fun little 5-year project that we all shared.
So I was going to play a little piece from Blood Fizz. Can you tell us what inspired that title?
Just pure imagery. Just
all right.
Nothing.
Let's hear just a little bit. You sound really good, I got to tell you.
Thanks.
But I think we've made the right.
Band comes in.
But you've made the right choice. I mean, the bagels are fantastic. So Warren, what was your next question?
But if I travel back in time to Roan's previous answer, you talked about the simplicity and the complexity of baking simultaneously, and I think the bagel is a perfect example of this. It seems like it should be an easy thing, but clearly it is not an easy thing. What do you think the greatest challenge is to making a good bagel?
I think for me, there was a lot of almost unlearning of some of my instincts as a bread baker. There's a whole different approach of sort of the bread's very delicate and you need to be careful with it at certain phases, and you want this massive crumb and this crusty loaf, and so all those things were so embedded in my technique, I guess, that the bagel kind of it's deceptive because it's bread, but it's not the same. It's not bread at the same time, so it's its own beast. And I would say just kind of unlearning what I had learned for bread in order to make the bagel was probably the hardest thing for me personally. But then as far as bagels just in particular, I mean, there's the added step of like the boiling of the bagel, and that logistically, when you're not working with like proper bagel making equipment, gets a little hairy. I've posted some stories that they're gone now, but just of tripping breakers left and right and going to the fuse box in a huge panic because I have like 200 bagels overproofing or not boiling right, or the oven is not, that's more specific to my space. But there's just a lot of equipment. I mean, I think that's kind of why bread bakeries aren't also bagel shops, because it's a whole different, swath of stuff to make the bagel.
I think it's interesting because the other baker in town who's making bagels is Josh at Zilberstein's, right? And I feel actually he takes more of a bread forward approach to the bagel, which makes them taste very different, and they are their own thing. But you are making something that tastes like a bagel, so I really appreciate this idea of it's being its own beast, baking wise.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's demanding. It demands its own identity for sure.
So you said it took you a while, and then you sort of nailed it, and you felt like you could plant your flag on Mount Bagel there. What was the hardest part for you to conquer in your mind? Was it the crust, the crispiness, the crumb, the chew?
All of it. Yes. I think really, it's gonna sound weird, but like that kind of mysterious bagel flavor, it was hard to achieve. I made bread with a hole in the middle for 9 months. I mean, just over and over and over again, even though I was using malt syrup, even though I tried the malt powder, and and it just, and to be honest, I don't know when it came in, but at some point the magical bagel flavor entered the bagels. And I really think it was just a combination of 1,000 little things, just it was something to do with malt syrup. It was something to do with fermentation. It does have to do with, baking your plain bagels on the same bagel boards that maybe you just baked some garlic bagels on. I mean, it all sort of comes together to achieve that mysterious bagel flavor that I think maybe is there in a lot of bagels because they're made in an actual bagel shop where all this stuff is just sort of naturally occurring. But recreating that in a commissary in the middle of a neighborhood is not as easy.
I think one of the things you've done that's distinctive in my mind is that it's by no means a Montreal bagel, but there's a little element of your bagels which is just a teeny bit sweeter than the typical bagel, or a little less salty. So I was wondering how much of that is conscious or conscientious, I should say.
It's definitely, that was my intent. The bagels that I grew up eating in North Florida were definitely the more squishy, softer, and sweeter bagels. And I think that's kind of that's one of the only things that kind of carried through from the bagels of my childhood, was that sort of hint of sweetness. Just that was a nostalgic thing that I wanted to try to recreate. But yeah.
Warren, can I ask a question about, you talked about the magic of the bagel in terms of its form, its flavor, the smell. I mean, you have managed to keep a soft outside, and yet it's also crunchy, which I think is what's evocative for me. And bagels mean a lot magically for people. When you bite into a bagel, like you said, your childhood can come back to you. What are you hearing about that sensory experience from people? You've obviously chosen a very legendary type of food in terms of making it. So what is the legend that you feel like you're hearing from people as they're experiencing these?
People are very sweet. They've said some extremely nice things. You guys included. Thank you very much. Today, a regular customer of mine posted on Instagram. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was something to the effect of, I don't know how the bagels get here. I don't know how they're made. I think it has something to do with the bagel monks coming down from the mountain to deliver the product of their ancient wisdom, or something very theatrical like that. But it was very creative, and it was very kind.
It's very spiritual, actually. It's very spiritual.
It's true, yeah. I dug it. I liked it. I have pretty regularly, like, the East Coast affirmation of, hey, and I'm from X, Y, or Z on the East Coast. You specifically New York, but also just anywhere on the East Coast. I don't know why it is that it is better over there. I don't know why, but.
And just as a quick follow-up, does the bagel mean anything symbolically other than a bagel?
I think, well, that's a question that we could have a whole segment or a whole episode on, I guess. No, I mean, it's bread. I'm a baker, and to me it's bread, and there's the same relationship of trying to unravel the secret to achieving a good baguette or a good rye, or in this case a bagel, is kind of the same, brings about sort of that same gratification. I think just you start with something that it's a huge wall, and you bang your head against it until something gives, and that's a good feeling. So I think probably that would be the significant feeling I get from making bagels.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, it sounds like, and I know in the bagel making community, there's a little bit of a community growing there amongst those who make bagels.
Yeah.
And obviously, I imagine you like your bagel best. But if you had to eat a bagel from somebody else, where would you get that bagel?
My answer that I've gone to for this question since I really dove into the bagel world is Pork Chop & Co. Same. All right. Paul over there.
I remain neutral. I'm Sweden on that one.
No, there's so many good ones, but which is crazy to say now, by the way. Just in the last few years, just people have been popping up left and right. But yeah, Paul, I think he's the primary bagel chef over there. I just really think he's doing the bagel justice. It's for my dollars on my day off. In fact, a couple weeks ago on my day off, I did go get bagels at Pork Chop & Co. So yeah, I like their bagels.
Well, I have to say you're right up there. And once again, I don't care if it's a stealth bagel. That just means we have to plan and plot a little harder on how to get them. But I think you are doing something magical, or in Pamela's words, maybe spiritual. But it's a tremendous bagel, and I'm so grateful to you for making those. I think it's lovely.
Absolutely, lovely. I'm happy to do it.
And I think I will also say, since it's the last episode, that you're right that when I first moved here to Seattle 20 years ago, the idea of a good bagel was really almost comical. Yeah. But now the fact that we can actually have a debate about which fall into the top three feels like a blessing of sorts.
Yeah, I love being part of getting Seattle to that point. I think that's what it's all about, is just more people on smaller scales, not these mega bagel shops churning out thousands and thousands every day, but you just get with smaller operations and more of them, you just get more variety. You know, taste is obviously subjective, so you cast a wider net, and you know, everybody gets to have their specific bagel that they like. So yeah, it's cool. It's fun.
So Roan, we want to thank you
from
guys.
Jacksonville since Pat Boone. So well
Nice.
Roan, you know, you're both a musician and a baker, and I think all of that kind of really reflects in the experience of your bagels. But we all want to know how you're going to help us climb that mountain and learn more about your future. So can you maybe tell those of us that are watching this how we can learn more about ordering and supporting you during the time of closure?
Absolutely. So the website is mountbagel.com. On Mondays at noon, I post the following week after. So like next week's going to be the 20. I'm going to post the 20. I forget. The next week. It's been a long week. I've been up all sorts of weird hours. So anyway, Monday I post the following week dates, and you have to be pretty quick right now. There's a lot of people ordering at the same time, and I'm not really a web designer, so the website is a little clunky, but you know, if you navigate through it and you get that order confirmation, you can get bagels delivered that way. Thursdays are pickup days at Harry's Fine Foods, so you still pre-order, and then you go pick up your bagels that next Thursday at Harry's from 12 to 3-ish or 4-ish. Yeah, and hopefully soon we'll be able to increase our volume to make it not sell out in like too small of a time.
Well, thank you so much for being part of this, Warren. Anything else? And maybe you should tell us, Warren, since it's our last episode, how we can learn more about the upcoming Movie Crush.
Oh, that's very kind. The moviecrush.com is the Walla Walla Movie Crush, America's most intoxicating showcase of short films, July 10th through 12th. We're doing it in person in Walla Walla, maybe at a severely reduced capacity to meet health guidelines, but there'll probably be an online component, so you can always reach out to me. Most importantly, thank you, Pamela, for this opportunity to talk to bagel makers. Not only do I love bagels, but I think they actually do contribute tremendously, not only to Jewish culture, but just to the goodness of life in general. So the work of Roan and Paul and Andrew and Josh and everybody else who's raising the bar for bagels in Seattle is greatly appreciated. So well done.
I definitely think Seattle can plant the flag of bagels for everybody at the top of the mountain, but we look forward to hearing more from you, Roan, and what comes ahead. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for Bagel Bites. Thank you to my host, Warren Etheredge, and looking to see you forward coming up for some other events. Maybe we'll come up with our next series, Bagel Bites. I don't know. We'll see. If you have suggestions, email them to me. But we've hit the iconic food, I think, and you got a lot of options. So order away, support our bagel makers, and thanks, guys, so much. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.